Alright, Arrow fans, time to take a look at the second episode of the day, which is The Sin Eater. The scene opens with Diggle and Oliver getting ready to meet Justin Claiborne's special lady. Oliver approaches the lady for her child's name. However, she does need Oliver to go find him up. She says that her child is harmed and terrified, and that she will not help. The lady at that point shows Oliver out. China White, Warner, and Q would overpower two watchmen on a jail transport and head to Star City. Back at the Arrow Cave, Dinah cautions the group about the breakout while Felicity utilizes a sniffer gadget to check whether Prometheus' mom has had any contact with her child. Diggle specifies that Dinah is getting sworn in today as the most up-to-date individual from Star City's police division. Susan Williams shows up at City Hall and inquires as to whether he's the Green Arrow. Oliver quickly reacts, yes, however slows back and says it's a joke. Susan makes reference to that she's taking a shot at Astoria and asks again, this time on the record. Yet he keeps on denying it. In a flashback, Energy and Oliver attempt to design their assault on Gregor. Oliver offers to remain close by until they can execute Gregor, however says he needs to head home when this is completely wrapped up. Gregor specifies that Oliver is a wrongdoing eater, a man who takes the transgressions of others so they can go to the hereafter. Oliver throws Dinah into the SCPD. A while later, Thea gets some information about Oliver's discussion with Susan and his friend that Susan tracked down Oliver's subsequent character. Quentin comes up to them and notices the jail departure and requests to join Oliver since it's close to home. Felicity focuses Green Arrow Quentin to a Chinese triad lair, where China White and the others cleared out an entire group of pack individuals. Quentin says they have to discover the escapees before they drop further bodies. Oliver makes a beeline for the Arrow Cave and breaks down a video demonstrating the escapees in real life. Oliver catches China White getting some information about his safe and says they have to make sense of what she's discussing before they abandon further bodies. In a flashback, Oliver accompanies Anatoly out of the medical clinic, burning a few Gregor's men all the while. The new SCPD boss gets an earnest letter. It says to assemble the whole anti-crime unit in a short time. The informs Felicity concerning Susan Williams, so Felicity hacks in Susan's PC and discovers the entirety of Susan's information on Oliver. Walter and Mr. Stanley track down an enduring triad part and discover three escapees are following Tobias Church's $100 million store, which he never got the chance to spend since he kicked the bucket. Looking through one of Church's old safe houses, Oliver inquires as to whether he's alright with Dinah turning into the following Black Canary. Quentin says he's alright with it, as long as Dinah does Laurel pleased. They're hindered by discharges, as Warner, Cupid, and China White have shown up. Quentin pursues Warner, while Oliver battles Cupid and China White. Quentin discovers that Warner went dull again subsequent to discovering that Quentin worked with Damien Dark. In the meantime, the ACU shows up and declares that Green Arrow will not be taken to jail for the homicide of Detective Malone. Oliver realizes Blair to escape from the ACU and surges back to the air cave to tell the remainder of the group. Oliver chooses to utilize his mayoral capacity to discover why the ACU is pursuing him. Back at City Hall, the ACU boss hands over Malone's coroner report, which says he was executed by one of Green Arrow's bolts. Oliver tries to clarify that the Green Arrow wasn't included. Yet the man says the Green Arrow was a cop. Green Arrow was a cop killer. After the ACU boss leaves, Oliver says that Prometheus is behind this, as the coroner's report originated from Opal City, where Prometheus' mom lives. Oliver at that point discovers that Susan Williams has been terminated for supposedly appropriating material. She says the planning is dubious. This happened following she inquires whether Oliver was the Green Arrow. Oliver says she knew nothing about it, yet Susan gets him out and enlightens him concerning all the proof she got. She at that point saw him out of Oliver's office. Obviously, Oliver didn't hack Susan's PC. However, he realizes who did it. Oliver sends up to Felicity and discovers that Thea is behind everything. One of Gregor's men advises Anatoly to hand over Oliver or bite the dust, so Oliver eagerly surrenders himself to spare his companion. Quentin enlightens Thea concerning Warner, yet Thea says that she needs to quit, reprimanding herself for the wrongdoings of others. China White and the others discover one of Brendeli's men and request he takes them to Church's blustery day account. Later that night, Oliver gets information about Susan, however Thea was quite unrepentant about securing her sibling. Oliver is quickly aware that Thea so easily crushed a lady's life, and asks how she could do that to an individual. Quentin comes up and educates Oliver about Warner and the others, and Oliver says they have to let the cops handle it. Oliver says despite the fact that Prometheus organized things, he shot the bolt. Be that as it may, Quentin says that he's never let anybody stop him. Oliver chooses taking their go at the ACU boss. He compares the conditions of Malone's demise to the police. Andrew says that he and Chase attempted to keep it calm to shield the city from alarm. Oliver requests that the Central-led Green Arrow continue being a legend, yet the man says he'll have to think on it. A short time later, Lizzie says she's discovered Warner and the others. Back at the Arrow Cave, Lizzie gives Dinah her own cover before they head out onto the field. In the interim, the ECU equips to pursue Green Arrow once more. One of the others discovered Church's cache in a tomb. However, they're probably encircled by Green Arrow and his group. Be that as it may, Warner covers she has a little armed force on her side, paid off ahead of time. Things separate in a rush. While Doc gets shot, and Mr. Vick gets joined forces against by Cupid and Warner. Grant has to stop China White, yet the ECU appears. Rather than shoot at Green Arrow, the ECU boss shoots China White while his men get together, Cupid, Warner, and their employed assistants. A short time later, Grant Arrow thinks the ECU boss apologizes about Malone's demise. Grant additionally gives the boss a major indication about his actual character, which Jacob appears to get on. Quentin gives Warner an affectionate goodbye and gives Dinah a couple of inspirational statements a while later. Thea apologizes to Oliver. Oliver says that Thea did commit an error. She settled on decision. Oliver says that Thea helped him a great deal to remember her mom. Likewise made extreme choices, but not really the correct ones. The scene closes with Chase jumping into Oliver's office and saying that they have a major issue. Somebody's cautioned the report about Oliver concealing Malone's passing, which could trigger his arraignment. Oh boy. So anyway, let's take a look at some trivia surrounding this episode. The title of this episode references the name Oliver received from when Anatolia referred to him as a sin eater, a person who he says in some cultures lives on the edge of a village, placing fruits and vegetables on the body of any recently deceased, thus eating their sins and taking their sins as his own, allowing them to walk free to the afterlife. This is used in relation to Oliver's need to take out Pecan Gregor, who attacked Anatoly. Amanda Westfield's house is the same house used for Barry Allen's original home on The Flash. This episode marks the first appearance of Chien Na Wei in present day since Identity. So overall, I think this episode is kind of interesting, and yeah, it's a good thing that the AC actually let Green Arrow do his thing and stuff, so yeah. So overall, I give The Sin Eater 3 arrowheads out of 5. Well, you tune in a bit as we took the final episode of the day, Fighting Fire with Fire. So, until then, in the words of Oliver Queen, you have failed this city.